Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Kacee Allen. We've got a lot to talk about. We're just 2 weeks away from the presidential election as Vice President Harris will go against former President Trump. Now, many of you know I am a registered Republican. I'm actually a Republican in my county that serves as the youth chair, and I will be voting for Donald Trump and many conservatives across the board. I'm not shying away from that, and I think it's important that everybody knows that. But with that being said, as an independent journalist, it's still my job to report objectively to every single person, whether I like the truth or not. And what we're going to talk about here is why Kamala Harris is the most radical candidate in history. And yes, I have my opinions, but this is objective. There has been no candidate, even a Democrat, who has proposed amnesty for illegal immigrants, but Kamala Harris sure does. Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, even Joe Biden did not come out and fully say he supports amnesty for illegal immigrants, but sure enough, Kamala Harris does. And that's just one of many points why she is the most radical candidate.
It's the Kacee Allen Show.
If I was someone who was a Democrat, I don't even personally know what would be one logical policy or agreement that would make you want to vote for her. The only entirely one thing that I could see that could make sense for people to vote for her, although I do not think this will actually cause, an increase in our economy, is that she wants to give a $20,000 down payment for first-time homebuyers. So that's where she tries to get Gen Z and the younger people who are struggling because of her mess and because of her economy and because of her border. She thinks she's going to get your vote by saying, hey, guys, we'll give you a down payment of $20,000 for your first-time home despite everything we've done. Really, I don't think anyone's falling for that. And the only people that frankly are the ones that voted for her and really Biden the first time. When it comes to the economy, I would be willing to bet the average American has less in their bank account than they did 4 years ago under Donald Trump. Inflation, prices of food, gas, everything has gone to rates we've never seen before. And remember, a 9% inflation. 9% inflation when Joe Biden took office for the first 2 years. It was combined to like 18%. I mean, that is absolutely insane and is destructive to our currency and our country. Not to mention the doubling of the money supply during COVID when we handed out all those stimulus checks. Everybody thought that was free money. No, sorry to break it to you. That is now affecting you at the grocery store. You thought $1,300 was much. That was probably, going to cover your bills for that month or was a month worth of expenses. That's now gone. We really haven't had a president who has dealt with the national debt. Even under President Trump, the national debt was up $7 trillion. Under Biden, $9 trillion. Obama, just as bad. And every president, it just has gotten worse since Nixon took us off the gold standard. I've mentioned this in many episodes. I'm a big finance guy, and the fact that we did go to the banking system and take the dollar's worth away is a big consequence and really a big reason why we are where we're at today in our country. If our currency is worth nothing, how are we worth anything? Kamala Harris's economic proposal is 44% capital gains tax on anyone making $100 million a year, and that also includes a never-before-seen tax on unrealized gains at 25% for those same people making $100 million. We've never heard of this before. This is taking away capitalism. And here's the biggest misconception. They'll say, well, yeah, I'm not making $100 million a year, so it won't affect me. What's going to happen when the guys that are making that money, like Mark Cuban and the Warren Buffetts of the world, they are less incentivized to be investing in the market, so they're therefore going to sell their stocks, and it's going to wreck everyone in the middle class. Everyone holding their 401ks and retirement funds, they're going to face the effects of that. It's a mass sell-off event, just like what happened 100 years ago in 1929 when we saw the Great Depression. That may happen again when you see our current economic standpoint, and if Kamala Harris does get elected, we probably will collapse. I mean, that's almost asking for a collapse. And this is not even talking about the border yet. This is just her economic plan. And on top of that, she really hasn't given any new ideas. She's actually taken Donald Trump's ideas. She took the no tax on tips.
And eliminate taxes on tips.
Going to have no tax on tips. Very simple.
She is following Donald Trump's footsteps because she knows that his policies are going to win. She won't come out and say it. And then the other thing is, how is she so conflicted with Joe Biden? And how is the Democratic Party that confident to put her in office when there was a literal coup that happened just months ago when Joe Biden was just taken out of office? He was just literally picked up and pulled out of office. And they just throw in Kamala Harris, the woman who has never won an election. She's won a DA election, but when she ran for president, she had to drop out because she pulled less than Andrew Yang, Elizabeth Warren. We know the rest. And this is their candidate. This is the confidence that comes out of nowhere. And I've said this before. Logically looking at this, if this is a fair election, how on earth is the Democratic Party, who just pulled a last-minute switcheroo, they're just going to prop up Kamala Harris like she's been running the show the whole time? Who is the opposition? It's Donald Trump and the MAGA base that's been there since 2015, almost a 10-year movement that's actually grown. And there's proof that it's grown because you look at celebrities, you look at people like Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, even Mark Cuban said he would actually work with Donald Trump. People are starting to wake up. Bill Ackman even today said he would support Donald Trump.
Let's talk about team for a moment, because it's not really Trump versus Harris. It's the Trump team versus the Harris team, right? So what have we seen? So Trump's picked J.D. Vance as his vice president. Walz is a self-described knucklehead, right? I can't imagine a world in which this guy is president of the United States. And you have to look at the vice president as a potential president of the United States. So that's, right. If I line them up, you know, you've got a guy who grew up in a very, very challenged environment, addiction, family, rural America, makes his way to Yale, armed forces. Now he's, venture capitalist, senator, extremely articulate, obviously highly intelligent. So you compare and contrast.
It's starting to be very clear what America sees, what America wants, and the people that aren't necessarily on board with Trump and have this TDS, I think they're starting to put that aside and realize, okay, it's inevitable. We see the people do want Trump. We see that there is a populist movement in America going on. And it's not just in one state, it's all states. Kentucky specifically. In my state, we are a very red state. We're very conservative and one of the biggest populist movements in the country. But this is happening all over the place. People are waking up. They saw the scam in 2020. They saw what happened with COVID. They've been seeing all this foreign aid sent to countries that, frankly, people can't even see on a map. They don't even understand what it is or what the occupation or strategic interest for the United States is in these wars. Funding terror wars that's only benefiting the military-industrial complex. We have things that happen with these hurricanes and natural disasters, East Palestine, Hawaii. Where's the money for that? They can just write a check for $200 billion and people will argue with me, oh, it's military equipment. Oh, you can't, what are you going to do with $200 million of tanks? You know what I would do? If we were faced with a choice to send $200 million of, not cash, but military equipment to Ukraine, or take it and liquidate it to somebody who we know is, a safe individual, or just literally sell it for its worth and melt it down, and disperse that to the American people, yeah, I would be on board with that. And yes, it can happen. It's just the fact that we are taking all this money away from the American people. Our taxpayer money is going to fund these foreign wars. And people like Kamala Harris will do nothing to stop this. She will only encourage this. I mean, look at Joe Biden, for instance. This is the actual president. We have Kamala Harris as the prospective president. Same administration, but what does Joe Biden do? He's done the impossible. He's gotten Israel, Palestine, Lebanon. Everybody does not like them. They don't take them serious. I mean, it just shows that we need a true leader in the White House. And regardless how you feel about Israel and Trump and Miriam Adelson and the whole donations, I've got a lot of disagreements with that. I think, Trump saying that he would not accept big money funding in 2016. He's really gone against that and turned a little bit establishment, you could say. I get that. It's real. It's happened. But the fact that he has that relationship with Netanyahu, the fact that he's actually had the track record of maintaining peace in the Middle East and with Putin in Ukraine, that's a guy that we definitely need. That's a guy that deserves at least a chance and probably is the best and maybe last hope of saving our country. Look, folks, I know a lot of you will say, it's not as bad as it seems. You know, it's the news that makes it seem that the world is a dark place. The world is much darker than we realize. We have forces acting against us, the DOJ. We've got the weaponization of pretty much every industry against the American people, the surveillance state, the police state, the open borders. This is the fall of the West. It's happening in real time. And also, if Kamala Harris gets elected, it's funny because they like to champion the, Trump's going to bring Project 2025, which has been denounced. Wasn't even a real plan to begin with. Let's talk about Agenda 21. The globalist plot to destroy America. 15-minute cities, the banning of meat, the banning of private transportation. They want to take these things away. They want to ban gas cars, gas stoves. This is part of the agenda, and Kamala Harris is 100% backing that. She's not going to say, I'm endorsing Agenda 21, but look at what she proposes. Open borders, illegal amnesty, taxing everybody. The only people that will benefit from a Kamala Harris presidency is the federal government. Hear that again. No one will benefit more off of Kamala Harris's presidency than the federal government. That is the only entity that will obtain more power and wealth. Every single person will be less than what they were 4 years from now if she's elected. I can promise that. How are open borders, taxing everyone, transing the kids, allowing all this crazy indoctrination within our public school systems, how is this setting for a promising future? It's not. If we have leaders like this in office, there is no future. Our country is gone. There is no recognition of America and our values that were set into place since 1776. And frankly, that's what we have to fight for. The Democrats talk about democracy. They don't respect democracy. They have moved so far left where democracy is out the window. And if they win an election, which again, I don't think it's possible that they could win this freely and fairly unless they implement illegal immigrants, which we know is going to happen. They defraud the votes, which is already happening in Maricopa County, in Georgia. There's so many things happening right now within early voting that have been election interference. And another thing I want to get into, because many people are very confused about this. So Elon Musk, he started a super PAC called the America PAC. He's obviously supporting President Trump, but he created a super PAC to endorse those who are about free speech and the Second Amendment. It's not just money going to Donald Trump, but guess what? When it comes to the First Amendment and Second Amendment, who supports it, or arguably who supports it at all? Donald Trump. But Kamala Harris, she wants to take away her guns and she wants to ban free speech. So by default, where's that money going to go? It's going to go in President Trump's campaign because he is the one that supports that. And Elon has also made clear that he's going to be donating $1 million a day up until the election to every swing state voter that signs his petition. He's already given, I believe, $2 million the last 2 days to individuals. But the funny thing is the mainstream media, the propaganda networks are saying that this is illegal. This is not right. He can't do this. He actually can. There are very strict limits within, campaigns and funding and all that. But there's not a limit into how much he can donate. There's also a rule that says he's able to give money to people that do sign his petition as long as it's not directly saying, hey, I'm going to give you money to vote. He's not doing this. This is 16 people. Yes, it's a lot of money. But if you support the First and Second Amendment, you're going to be eligible for that. I completely agree with that. That's totally fine. If the Democrats want to do that, go ahead. They're not buying votes. If anything, it's 16 votes, 16 people. It would be one thing to say if he was doing this for 3 years. Do you really think that 16 votes compared to the 30,000 or 30 million illegal immigrants coming in, is that going to be a big factor? No, it's not. The illegal immigrants are actually going to be the factor. But guess what? The mainstream media, the left, they don't want you to know that. They want you to think that this is illegal. They want you to think that Donald Trump is Hitler. He's a fascist. He's going to take away your rights. That's what they've been doing for the entire time. I mean, since 2016. Ever since he stepped into this arena, this is what they've done. And if you haven't realized that by now, I don't think you ever will. It's a psychological operation done by the state-run media. CBS, NBC, ABC, CNN, all of these matrix machines, they're losing in real time. And we know that. They're losing 25% of their audience every single year, if not more. Because people like Elon Musk are saying, we've had enough of this. We're going to offer free speech and a platform to everyone, or at least almost everyone. There is some censorship. And he's going to take charge and also have this super PAC and say, all right, we need to fix America. Our government is not doing its job, and this is a 1776 moment where we need to step up. And considering Elon was a leftist, he was arguably, he was a Democrat. He voted for Biden, Obama. This is the first time he's voting for Trump. That speaks a lot, and I think that really is the biggest factor here. The fact that you have Elon Musk, RFK, Tulsi Gabbard, all these people who have converted from the Democratic Party or independents into Republicans, frankly, because of this populist movement. You also have individuals like I said earlier, Mark Cuban, Bill Ackman. They are actually in support of Trump now. When it comes to the border, how can you be confident in Kamala Harris to secure it for 4 more years when she hasn't even done it for the last 4? And she was assigned as the border czar. Her first and only appearance at the border was just a month ago, and she was there for 10 minutes. It was all staged. How is this someone you can be confident to lead your country? Is this something that you've been told to think? Or can you actually sit there for a second and think Kamala Harris, with everything that she said and done, will be able to lead my country? I think you have a demented mind if you can sit there and think that she will. Because it's either you're so focused on hating Trump that you can't see the truth, or the leftist media has just fogged your entire reality of seeing anything. And it could be partly both, but we have to understand that this is not partisan anymore. This is about crazy and normal. This is about saving what country we have left. This is about our constitutional republic. Not the democracy, the constitutional republic. Because that's what's being threatened right now. And the biggest threat is censorship. Censorship is a big deal right now. We also have we have issues with TikTok, with YouTube. I'm currently facing the retributions of that. But if Kamala Harris is in office, they will literally try to take away every single ability of free speech that there is. They'll do everything with X. They'll try to take away your ability to monetize, your ability to simply even get on spaces. Like, they will try to do everything they can because they cannot stand alternative media being more powerful than them. And honestly, people like me will probably be arrested. And I'm ready for it. I've not broken the law. I'm exercising my First Amendment just like every American has the opportunity to do so. It's just that when you have someone who is tyrannical like Kamala Harris, she wants to take that away from you. She cannot stand that the alternative media, which is based on very truthful sources, yes, there's a lot of misleading and misinformation everywhere, but when you have people like myself who are not getting paid by the military-industrial complex, weapons manufacturers, big pharma, we are able to tell the truth without being masked and, puppeted to tell a lie. And that's what they hate. They will not allow that if she is in office. I will personally not allow her to shut down my show if they pull an Alex Jones like on me. We'll have to switch to another network, I guess, but we are here to fight to the end. You guys see what's happening to Alex Jones right now, right? InfoWars is set to shut down in 1 month from now after the election and is set to be auctioned off to the victims of Sandy Hook and the families because a federal judge says that he owes $1 billion to these families and that they can liquidate his X account, InfoWars, make him get rid of everything and give it to the families. That's absolutely absurd. That is an attack on our constitutional republic. InfoWars is one of the most truthful, fearless networks out there, and I give them credit for everything they've done. I'm a huge supporter. But the fact that they are being weaponized to this extent, this is not American. This is not what our country was founded on. People like Alex Jones deserve to have the full capacity of free speech, and there is a reason that this guy reaches millions of people every single day. Because he is telling truthful information, because he is telling you something that the establishment will not. That's the reality, folks. And if you're not ready for that, you've got a lot in store for you, because things are going to get crazy. I can promise you that in these next 13 to 14 days, this is going to be some of the most insane times in U.S. history, and like I said, the most important election in U.S. history. Election night's going to be crazy. I can't even imagine the intense feelings, the anxiousness. What is going to happen? I don't even know. I wish I could tell you. I really don't have faith in our election system. I don't even think I know that it will be rigged to an extent, whether it's 10 votes, 10,000 votes, 10 million votes, I don't know. All we know is that it will happen. We've got very direct evidence, or very good evidence, that shows that it has already happened. So all we can do is hope and pray, get out and vote for President Trump and all of our conservative candidates, especially the ones in your county. I'm not kidding, folks. This might be it. Just like Elon said, the swing states right now have had an increase of 100 to 700% influx of illegal immigrants in the last 4 years. On that pace, there will be no swing states left. It will be a one-party totalitarianism system that is, frankly, it's a democratic system. It's a blue country that wants open borders, rampant inflation, rampant economy, and they just don't value anything that has to do with our Constitution and our American people. They're trying to part ways with everything that we have and know. So get out there and vote for President Trump. That's the best advice I can give you, because if not, this is it.